Okay, I want you to sit down for a second because this video today is personal. I'm Shania Gladwell, and if you're new here, then welcome. If you've been watching me for a little while, then welcome back. I have built multiple businesses across different industries, including the service industry for my cleaning business, Beska Cleaning and Beska Tiling, and now I help businesses around the world in my agency Growth by ATOS. So I'm here to show you today what I've learnt along the way from things that I have actually lived through. So if you get value out of this video, guys, please hit the thumbs up, hit subscribe, and drop any questions that you have below. It's the easiest way to support my channel because this topic is something that I got wrong, and I want to save you the next 2 years that it cost me in learning the hard way. So today we're going to be talking about growing your business. We're going to be covering 10 things. Should you open a second location? Why expansion can actually kill a business that was doing just fine. We'll talk about one great business versus 5 average businesses, and I'm going to tell you exactly how I learnt that lesson. We're going to talk about when to actually know when it's time to grow and how I personally decided whether to expand in new locations. I'm going to talk about the hidden cost of growing too fast, as well as how to know if you're actually ready to hire in your business, as well as the psychology behind why so many of us grow too early in business, myself included. So this one's going to be a long one. I want you to get comfortable, grab a drink, grab a beverage, grab a smoke, whatever tickles your fancy, and let's get into it. All right, so I'm going to start here with how do I know if I should open a second location, because this is one of the most commonly asked questions in my mentorship. Because I know for a lot of you watching this, this is exactly where your head is at right now. Your first location is working, bookings are coming in steady, and there's this little voice in the back of your head saying, okay, if one location does all of this, imagine having 2. And I want to be completely honest with you right now about how I actually think about this, because it's not as exciting as you think, and you probably won't like the answer. A second location is not a copy and paste of your first one. Everyone treats it like it's going to be, like you just find out some secret formula of what works and now you just repeat it somewhere else. But your first location worked because of 100 small things that accumulated and compounded that were mostly invisible to you. It's the relationships that you built locally. It's the reputation that took you years to earn. It's the staff who know what your standards are without being told twice. It's the fact that you personally were close enough to catch the problems before they became catastrophes, or you caught them before you actually had to fix them when they did become a disaster that sent your business backwards. A second location strips almost all of that away, and it asks you to rebuild it from zero in a place where nobody has heard your name yet, while you're still running your first location. So before you open a second location, I want you to be asking a completely different question. Don't just ask yourself whether you can afford it. I want you to ask yourself, can it run without you being physically present every day? Because if the honest answer is no, then opening a second location right now doesn't solve the problems of growing your business. It just splits your attention and your assets in half. Now, the businesses that I have seen actually succeed with a second location did one thing in common. They didn't open it to escape a problem from their first location. They opened it because the first one had genuinely become so boringly stable, so profitable and well documented, and it continues to run and grow daily with next to no involvement from the owner. So if your first location still needs you every single day, then a second location probably isn't the next right move. You're just going to be doubling your problems and hoping that the extra revenue outruns the extra issues that come with the added responsibility. And I know it sounds dramatic, but it's not. Expansion done at the wrong time doesn't just slow your business down. It can take a genuinely healthy business and put it on life support. So I'm going to talk about why. Because when you expand, every weakness that was small and manageable in your business gets multiplied. If your systems were held together loosely, it spreads to every new site. Except now you're not there to personally catch and solve these issues. And if your cash flow was tight in the first location, then opening a second one usually means spending money before the new revenue actually arrives, which means your business gets tighter and it gets worse and more painful before it actually gets better. And sometimes a lot worse if your team culture depended on you physically being present to make sure that you could set the standard. That culture often doesn't just transplant to the next business. It dilutes very quickly. So here's the test that I would actually want you to run before expanding anything. A second site, a new service that you're adding, or expanding into a new market servicing a different type of customer. Ask yourself, is what I currently have rock solid, or is it just currently not falling over? Because those are two completely different businesses, and expansion will absolutely tell you the truth about which one of those your business is in. Now, this is one of probably the most useful things that I can give you today. At one point, I was running my cleaning business across multiple locations, still running my tiling business, servicing businesses internationally with venture mentors and Cornerstone AI all at the same time. And on paper, that looks like success. 5 things, all earning legitimate money and all being successful. But here's what was actually happening underneath. Each one of those services or businesses was growing a little bit. None of them was actually growing meaningfully. And I was so spread thin across focusing on 5 different directions that not one of those areas was getting the best thinking and my best energy or my best results. They were all getting whatever was left after the other 4 had taken a big piece of me. And I had to make a genuinely hard call. I said goodbye to opportunities that were earning real money and had real potential to go all in on one thing. And that's how Growth by ATOS came to exist. I have consolidated everything from my entrepreneurial journey into one focused business. And if that's something that you need, whether it's branding, logo design, documents for your business, websites, automated quoting, client onboarding, flyers, Facebook cover photos, and anything that you need to grow digitally, then check out the link below in my description. ATOS is genuinely built from everything that I have learned along my way to being announced as a finalist for Champion Female Founder Australia. So here's the principle underneath that story. One great business that is genuinely excellent at one thing will almost always outperform 5 average businesses that are each just doing okay. Average doesn't compound. Excellence does. And every hour that you spend split across 5 different directions is an hour that isn't making any single one of them exceptional. You know, it's funny because I had someone recently ask me in mentorship what they should do from going in the commercial cleaning industry into residential. And they said, how many hours do I need to dedicate to opening residential if I want to be the best? And I said, full time plus some. Because your competitor that is the best in residential is working full time and not splitting their attention across commercial. So if you want to be the best at something, and I mean truly to be exceptional, there is sacrifices that you have to make. Another one is, I get this all the time from regional and rural areas. Shania, I'm a solo cleaner, or I want to grow my business, but my town isn't big enough. Okay, so move, guys. Business is about facing the facts. And sometimes you are up against walls that are designed against you. You cannot have 50 staff in a town of 500 people. And if you're sitting there right now running 2 or 3 or 4 different things all at once, and they're all doing fine, but none of them are doing amazing, then I want you to ask yourself honestly whether that's the real strategy that you want to stay with, or whether it's fear of committing to fully going in on just one. All right. Now let's get practical about it. How do you decide whether it is time to expand or not? First, I look at the numbers as they actually are with no emotion attached. What would this expansion actually cost all in, and how long until it's genuinely profitable and not just breaking even? Second, I ask what it would take off my plate versus what it would actually add to it. Because expansion should eventually reduce my personal load, not just increase my personal load with the extra income attached. Third of all, I would look honestly at what's currently fragile in the business, and I would ask whether this expansion would actually expose the weakness or the vulnerability, or whether that has already been dealt with. And fourth, and this is the one that I used to skip, I sit with the decision for longer than it feels comfortable. Okay? Excitement is a terrible advisor for big decisions. I'm not risk adverse, but I want to still feel good about it a few weeks later and not just make decisions in the adrenaline and the emotions of the idea. It usually helps because I get to sharpen the idea in my mind and actually map it out to see the full picture come together instead of just acting impulsively. So let's talk about the cost that nobody puts into a spreadsheet, because it's not a dollar figure that you can measure, at least not directly. When you grow too fast, the first hidden cost is usually quality. Standards that were tight when you were small start slipping the moment that you're stretched across more than you can properly oversee by yourself. And clients will notice that before you do, every single time. Now, the second hidden cost is your team's trust in you. Because when growth outspaces the systems that you currently have, your staff end up figuring things out on the fly, under pressure, without proper support. And that erodes staff morale. Now, the third one is personal. It is you and your own capacity. It is your own health. It is your relationships. It's your anything outside the business, because that does actually affect you. Growing too fast doesn't just strain the business. It strains the person that is running all of that. And that strain doesn't stay connected to work hours only. We need to be realistic about what we go through as entrepreneurs. And the fourth hidden cost, the one that really gets to people, is cash. Growth almost always requires spending ahead of the revenue that the growth is supposed to bring in. You need more stock, you need more staff, you need more space, you need systems. And if that timing gap is underestimated or you miscalculate, which is almost always going to happen in business, that looks successful on paper, they can genuinely run out of cash in the middle of a growth spurt, which sends them to bankruptcy. That is one of the cruelest ironies in business. You can grow yourself into a cash crisis while everything looks like it's working on the outside. Now, how to know if you're ready to hire again? Here is what I look at before adding to the team again. Is the current team consistently at capacity and not just busy in bursts, but genuinely, repeatedly stretched out? Is there a specific role that is clearly defined and not a vague sense of, oh, we probably need more hands? Can you financially sustain this hire even through a slower month, not just in the best case scenario? And is my current onboarding and staff training system solid enough that the new hire won't just add more confusions and problems on top of what's already been stretched thin in my business? I'm trying to hire people to solve problems and not create new ones. If you're hiring reactively purely because everyone's overwhelmed right now, then you're solving today's problem at the expense of tomorrow, potentially adding more problems in the future of your business. Sometimes what looks like a hiring gap is actually a systems gap. And hiring into a systems gap just means that the new person inherits the same problems that you hired them to solve, that everyone else is drowning in. So let's define your capacity in business, because I think a lot of people have heard of the term capacity planning in their business, but no one's actually ever showed you how to understand it and how to do it. Capacity planning, in plain terms, is figuring out and knowing how much your current team, your current systems, and your current resources can genuinely handle before the quality of your service delivery starts slipping or burnout starts creeping in, which affects your churn rate, your staff leave, and all that sort of stuff. And then planning your growth against that real number and not against what your hopes are for your business. So here's how I actually do it. I work out what one team member or one location or one unit of your business that you're trying to expand can realistically and sustainably produce in a week, without exaggerating, without everyone having to stay back and work late hours to save the day. That is your real capacity, not your best week ever capacity. And then I compare that against the current and the projected demand of my business. If my demand is consistently sitting above what is sustainable for me to fulfill, that is your genuine signal to add the resources, to hire, to open the new space, to invest in the tools. If demand is below that, then adding more resources right now is not worth it. It's just going to be adding extra costs that are sitting unused in a growing business, which can create cash flow issues. And the mistake that I see is business owners planning their capacity around their best week ever. The one time that everything went perfectly instead of their sustainable, repeatable, and realistic week. You need to plan around what is sustainable. Best case weeks are lovely, but they're not the foundation of your business. The businesses that are able to genuinely scale and grow, well, they aren't run by the busiest people that I know. They're run by the most focused ones. People who said no to good opportunities so that they could say yes, a full and proper yes, to the right one. Hard work burns you out chasing volume, whereas focus builds something that is actually strong enough to hold the weight behind it when it grows so that you can step away in the future. If you take nothing else from this video, please take this. You do not need to be doing more things to actually grow. You need to be doing the right thing at the right time for you, and your job as a business owner is to know the signals and to know when to pull each lever for the next stage of growth. So this brings us to the last one, and this is the most honest part of the whole conversation, because the real reason why people scale too early usually is not a numbers mistake. It's actually a psychological one, because growing too early often comes from wanting proof or validation. Proof to yourself, proof to other people, proof that what you built actually matters. And a second location, a bigger team, a flashier version of the business that feels like tangible evidence of that success. Feels better than the slow, unglamorous work of just making what you already have genuinely excellent. It can also come from comparison to others, like watching someone else expand and then feeling like you're behind. Even when your business and their business actually aren't even comparable. And sometimes it comes from restlessness, plain and simple boredom with the current size that your business is at. I made almost every single one of these mistakes myself, because nobody sat me down like this and told me that wanting more isn't the same as actually being ready for more. So that's not the exciting version that everyone asks for, but knowing when to expand, knowing when to hold, and having the discipline to actually build one thing properly to the level of exceptional instead of chasing 5 things or more is more likely to take you to the top. If you're building something right now and you're thinking about whether it's time to grow or whether you need to focus and consolidate the way that I did with ATOS, that's something that we can help with, especially all the systems side of growing properly. So the link is below if that's useful to you. Thank you guys for sitting with me through this one, and I will see you in the next video.